Yesterday, the world celebrated the International Youth Day. But here, it's not just about celebrations and hashtags. It's about power and whether the people who make up the majority of this nation's population will finally decide where this country is heading. Let me hit you with a number. Over 70% of Nigerians are under the age of 35. We are the youngest country in Africa, yet our leadership still looks like a reunion of the 1979 cabinet. So I ask you, and I want your honest answer, will the youth decide Nigeria's future, or will we keep outsourcing our destiny to others? This is where I welcome you to Politics Uncensored, where we cut through the spin and get straight to the truth and tackle the conversation raw and unfiltered. Our goal will always be to provide a platform for open and honest discussions where experts and everyday citizens like yourself can share your perspectives and insights about all our conversations. Of course, your favorite show, and I'm your host, Okikiola Taiwo Jalupon. You can call me the polyhumanitarian, and I'm here to make political discussions accessible for all. It's going to be a solo show today, as I have no guests, but I have you all to discuss this topic with me. So you can head on to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and invite your friends to join the show right now. This topic is about you, it's about me, and it's about Nigeria. Our phone lines are also open to you. You can call us on 070-2500-7749 and 070-1424-2420. Let's hear what you have to say. We'll go on a break right now and, of course, return with our top stories in the political space making headlines. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word.
Hey!
Nepa.
Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
You are still watching Politics Uncensored, and today we'll be discussing the International Youth Day theme. Will the youth decide Nigeria's future? And this conversation has gone beyond talking over and over and over again. Let me reiterate that Nigeria has a population youth bulge of over 70% who are under 35, according to NBS, as close as 2023 statistics. In fact, the registered voters, as at INEC statistics in 2023, only 48% of people who voted were between 18 to 34 years old. And you see that in 2019, the youth turnout was under 40%, meaning most people stayed at home. Now, the numbers say youth can win any election in Nigeria, but only if we actually show up. And 48% is totally below average. But before I go into our political news for today, I'd like to read some of the tweets that I found online. From some of our political celebrities, if I would call it. Well, Peter Obi said, on this International Youth Day, I joined the global community in celebrating the resilience, creativity, and boundless potential of our young people, the true engine of our nation's progress and the architect of the future we all envision. Across education, health, technology, sports, and other fields, Nigerian youths have continued to showcase the spirit of resilience, hard work, and excellence on both national and international stages. You are the bedrock upon which the great future of our nation must stand. Yet, for a country where about 70% of the population is youthful and where over 45% face unemployment and underemployment, we cannot afford the continued neglect of our youth. Investing in you through quality education, accessible healthcare, and support for entrepreneurship is the surest path to national transformation. A nation that invests in its youth secures its survival and guarantees its greatness. My commitment, as he said, remains firm. But the last part of it, he's still pushing himself out there. I have another tweet here that's saying on Twitter where Africa's First is saying 98% of youths in Rwanda believe the country is heading in the right direction. And I'm not sure that Nigerians will say the same. So it's quite sad how we have many of these tweets. We even have one from Atiku Abubakar, which said today, assuming he's reading, today on the International Youth Day, we celebrate the power of the Nigerian youth to transform global ambitions into local realities. Your innovation, courage, and energy are the bridge to a greater future. While all of these statements are very commendable, I am particular about the conversation of what role does us, the youth, we the youth, what role are we really playing when it comes to being part of the political space? We see basketball, football, on so many other grounds, Nigerian youths are taking the stance. But when it comes to politics, why do we keep leaving the field, half empty, especially on elections day? So I'm going to read a story here on the International Youth Day. Governor Rada reaffirms commitment to empowering the next generation. The Katsina State Governor Diko Umar Rada has joined the global community in marking this year's International Youth Day by commending the energy, creativity, and resilience of young people in the state across Nigeria and around the world. Governor Rada describes the youth as the heartbeat of innovation, community service, and nation building. In that conversation, he also emphasized how he, gave them the certificate and, how will I put it, helped some of the youths to get certain certifications. He also included the Youth Craft Village transformation, a total of 634 from the Youth Craft Village, each receiving trade-specific entrepreneurial starter packs in areas such as tailoring, carpentry, ICT, welding, and more. My problem with my problem with this initiative is the fact that we sort of give our youths to thrive on other aspects, but when it comes to political aspects, we sort of take them aback. There's no involvement in that sense. Or even when there is, it's always painted and crafted in a way where it looks like the youth are being empowered, but it doesn't seem so. So it's quite funny to see that while the youths are thriving in other entrepreneurial skills here and there, politics still remain very taken aback. And he has mentioned how the Katsina State Enterprise Development will tackle the issues of entrepreneurship and enterprise development. It's going to combat youth political thuggery. It's going to empower girls and protect their future. It's going to support exceptional young professionals and all of that. And we also have similar story on the Daily Champion newspaper, which is also reading World International Youth Day, SDGs. Bauchi calls on youth to be good ambassadors, positive, impactful, transformational change agents in Nigeria. And I like how people have come up to celebrate and make the International Youth Day a great one. But I'm still insisting that we sort of empower our youths on many other angles except the political space. So till when are we going to start empowering young people into the political system other than external civil organizations doing so? Now, back to the youths. When are we going to start involving ourselves in political conversations, political discussions, election day? if you didn't vote the last time, I want to hear why. Because we are always talking about something went wrong, that's why I didn't vote. So if you didn't vote the last time, I want to hear why you didn't vote. Was it frustration? Was it lack of trust? Or did you just think that your vote wouldn't count? But before I read your comments, I want you to look back and really think about in what ways have the government disenfranchised you? In what ways have you yourself actually disenfranchised yourself from the political space? We'll go on a break right now, and of course, when we return, we'll read your comments and go straight into our conversation for today. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back shortly.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Well, thank you for staying tuned. If you just tune in, we are still discussing the International Youth Day, and we're asking, will the youth decide Nigeria's future? Our phone lines are still open to you. Please call us on 070-2500-7749 and 070-142420. Let's hear what you have to say. Well, I have a few comments from WhatsApp here. When I ask people why they didn't vote in the last election, and somebody mentioned that the system is already rigged. Very simple, very straight. They don't need my vote. The system is already rigged. And this is a very common thing that we talk about over and over again. And just to remind us that over the years, since the time of elections, since the time of Abiola, we celebrate June 12 every time, but we still discuss how Abiola won the election but didn't get the election, and many, many stories after that. So until when are we going to keep talking about being disenfranchised, or when they say the system is already rigged? So let's start to ask ourselves those questions. Well, I have another one here saying that I voted, but my vote didn't count. How do you know that your vote didn't count? Because it's safe to say that the person who you voted for didn't win. But saying that your vote didn't count will have to come from where your elections, where the polling booths marred by violence, where the polling agents not up to task. What could have happened? These conversations about us youths over and over again, talking about what doesn't work, what is not working. I want us to start talking about what should work and what we are going to do to make it work. Some will say that it's not that we don't want to be involved, it's just that the game is rigged against us. And that's where we can agree that the barriers come in. So let's talk about the mountain young Nigerians have to climb to even smell political power. We know that. I'm into politics, and I know that this is a very big issue when it comes to political barriers for young people. We have the issues of economic barriers. The cost of nomination forms from different political parties are mind-numbing. And just earlier in the year, an article was published addressing the high cost of nomination forms from as low as 2 million naira and as high as billions of naira, just to come out to say, yes, I want to do something for Nigeria. I'm coming out to run for an election. And it's tiring. It's an emotional roller coaster. I remember very well in 2019 when I decided to run for election. I wanted to run under a big party. I was looking at, okay, what party should I run under? As much as I didn't have any idea about it, I wanted to run under a party that seemed popular. And while it didn't work, I ran under a third force party. And getting the nomination form was at a particular amount. I still had to pay, amidst many other costs that comes with, declaring that you want to run for election. And after that happened, the cost of campaigning was another big issue that happened. But luckily, people came out from Facebook posts, from GoFundMe, from campaigning. A lot of people, strangers, actually came out to, invest in my campaign. But that still didn't take out the fact that the campaign was very tedious, the financial cost, the physical strain, everything, put together had its own strain on me as a young person. But that didn't stop me from running, because I ran again in 2021 for the councillorship of my ward. And it still didn't stop the ticket from being expensive. It was still expensive. The campaign fund was still expensive. But did I do it? Yes, I did. Why? Because if we don't do it, nobody will. So I understand that the nomination forms is really high, which is part of the things that we're clamoring for political parties to start to look at how they can, empower our youths. But where will our youths be standing when these things that we're clamoring for now start? As I said again, campaign funding is a very big issue and almost inarguably rigged against the youths. You look for millions and billions of naira just to run campaigns. We won't even talk about structural barriers. Party politics, godfatherism has marred the structure of many political parties. And you see the big parties, the small parties. Just now, we have the issues of the Labour Party, the ADC, the APC, the PDP. Most of these parties have been marred by godfatherism and party politics, where the structure of many political parties and groups that even the youth who are involved are allegedly as corrupt as the people who are there. I personally talk about, this one is a very personal one. Cultural barriers was one of the biggest issue I had with running for elections. It was the fact that I was young. It was the fact that I was female. It was the fact that they're like, when are you starting life? Are you married? Do you have kids? It was a lot of things, a lot of cultural barriers that was wrapped around the election. They come with respect to your elders mentality and, a lot of dismissive language towards us, the youth. So, yes, I really understand how much barriers that we face. It doesn't still stop that. It's not going to change in the next 5 years. It's not going to change in the next 10 years because Nigeria is a cultural country. So how do we as youths now start to manage or start to find our way around this seemingly insurmountable barrier? And if we remember, the Not Too Young to Run came as a way of helping us, the youth, to run. Not too young to run. But that doesn't mean that so far we have had a huge test, and maybe some people have also been able to win. But how much has the Not Too Young to Run bill really helped? Especially when you are too broke to compete. If they ask you to bring 10 million naira to compete, what's the Not Too Young to Run bill going to do for you? So if political parties tomorrow, let's assume, said that nomination forms are free for candidates under the age of 35, do you think it will change anything, or are the problems really deeper than money? And this is something that I also want to know from all of us, because I personally think that the issue is deeper than money, but I also want to hear from you. I remember very well that I joined in a new party, and after, after joining the party, it came with, even if you have the funds to run, how well are you grounded in terms of godfatherism? So I will also ask, do you think that we should start to abolish godfatherism, or we should find a way as youths to manage godfathers? Well, this is a conversation that I want to know. And this is just saying that even when we break through those barriers, there's always the question of, can we move from being loud on the streets to actually having a seat at the table? We are so great with protests. We're so great with coming out to say, we are here, we are there, we want this, we want that. But how often do we switch from protesting to having a seat at the table? Well, we'll go on a break, of course, right now, and then we'll return again to ask, to read your comments and also know what the issue is with the Nigerian youth. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back to the show. You are still watching Politics Uncensored, and I asked, beyond protests, how do we move to a seat at the table? We've done the protests, but have we done the politics? Many people have gotten into politics, ran once or never ran and then went back. But speaking particularly now, how we can transition from protest to power, I'll cite a very big protest we had, or movement, if I'll put it like that. The NSAS protest or movement had mass mobilization, had very much awareness, and had global attention. But I can say for a fact that that awareness didn't turn into electoral dominance. Even when there were progress in the last election, we still suffered electoral defeat as regards numbers. So what do we do from now henceforth? How do we start to turn our outrage into an organized result? I personally am looking forward to 2027. I really want to see how many people or how many of our youths have started, if I'm talking about from today, have started joining political parties with the right mentality, with the right mindset to run for election again in 2027 or run for the first time in 2027. It's so sad to see over 70% of people under 35, and we're still struggling to find candidates under different political parties. So I'm hoping that we can move from the idea of always protesting. Every time on the show, I've spoken about and even asked some of our guests that how do we move from protesting to actually going into or getting into the system? Because the NSAS movement, we trended worldwide, but we didn't trend on the ballot paper at all. And even worse is the 151 political parties that are now joining the already cumbersome political ballot paper that we have. So how do we change from trending worldwide to trending on the ballot paper to now becoming the Nigeria that we truly deserve? That's what I want to know. But then let me read certain comments. So somebody here is saying that I plan to run for election in 2027, but I don't know where to start from. I think I'll address that later. But first, start from being involved, being aware. What does politics mean to you? What is your view of politics? We have another one here saying that politics is dirty, but sorry, I didn't get what this person said. Jude is saying that politics is dirty and should never be touched by a Christian. This is another, and this is why I said that Nigeria is a very cultural country. Politics is dirty and shouldn't be touched by the Christian. So who then should touch politics? I'm intentionally throwing these questions back to the audience because these are part of the superstitious beliefs that we have when it comes to politics. I'm very sure that in the Bible, there were political conversations. I'm very sure that in the Quran, there were political conversations. And the idea that politics is dirty is about your perception of politics. Politics is expensive. Yes, I agree. Nigerian politics particularly is expensive. Yes, I can agree. But is politics dirty? I think it's how you paint it to be. If you feel that it's dirty, what are you going to be doing differently to ensure that we start on a clean state? So if you think that we should now start rebranding how we see politics, it's so sad that I see that it's youth that's talking more about how politics is dirty. It's youth that's talking about how they are Christians, how they are Muslims, how their beliefs, don't go with this conversation. But we still see older people coming out to run for elections, voting, standing at their polling unit, following people to the LDA, to the local government offices to ensuring that their vote counts. And people are also questioning that should Nigerians continue to join the existing political parties? So I'm asking, do you think that we should start to focus on joining the political parties or joining the existing political parties, forming new ones, or staying as watchdogs? And I would proudly say that the existing ones are enough. The forming new ones at this point, I would say, is rather too late. Because how many times are you going to, or how much of structure have you put together to ensure that in the years of your constituency, of the area where you're going to be running, how many people know about this party? How informed? Have you even gone through the INEC process? Have INEC registered you? Have you been, or are you qualified? That's the party. I'm talking about forming a new party now. So maybe the existing parties are enough. I believe that they're enough. Find the one that aligns with your ideology and join one. We can't keep staying as watchdogs and looking outside the system. We must start to join the system right now because that's the only way that we can. And of course, this is not just a Nigerian story. I know very much that around the world, young people have been able to break through some of these barriers and have taken charge. So maybe, or just maybe, we can start to steal a few ideas from their playbook. And I'll cite some of the people who have taking global attention, and we have seen their work. And I don't know how many people know some of these people, but then if you read about Sanna Marin, she formed the coalition building in Finland and then made immaculate headways into the political space there. We also had or have Gabriel Boric, who was the student protest leader, to the president of Chile. Do you know how big it is to go from student protest leader? And that's why I'm seeing that protest is great, but how do we transform from protest to actually getting a seat at the table? So this person, Gabriel Boric, went from student protest leader to the president of Chile. And just in Iceland, we have had youth-led parliamentary reforms. So being young, I would say, is not just enough, but being prepared is a real ticket. So how are we going to be prepared to capture the attentions of these political parties? How are we prepared to take over? Let me use that word, to take over from the old cargo, as we popularly, using the youthful terms now, the old cargo, the bandwagon of old people that we usually talk about, saying that they have the ones that have ruined politics, and how are we ready? Are we prepared enough, to take that ticket and take it from them? And if you see that these examples, if you really go into reading about these people, these examples are very inspiring. But we can't just do copy and paste. We need our own Nigerian strategy, and we need it before 2027. I'm insisting on 2027 because 2025 went by for the Lagos local council elections, and I still saw that it was, if not worse, it was the same way election always looked like. People don't come out to vote. People stay in their houses because they feel like the local council elections are not their concern. But after the elections, we saw the huge number from tweets to many people talking about how the election was rigged, how there was violence and all of that stuff. But this is why I've said that we cannot just do copy and paste. We need our own strategy, a youthful Nigerian strategy, and we need it before 2027. So yes, my challenge to every young Nigerian listening right now, what are we going to be doing differently for 2027? What are we going to be doing differently for Nigeria? And for just to answer one of the questions of one of our audiences here, she's saying that she wants to join politics, but she doesn't know what to do. So let me extend a bit of help according to my own view of politics. So what are the things that I would say you should do? Let me put it in very simple 5 steps before, it's 5 steps call to action before 2027. First off, get politically literate. Read about the Constitution. Read about your local government constitution. Read about the Nigerian Constitution. Read thoroughly about the history of your constituency. Why are you running? Why do you want to be part of this constituency? What are the, how would I put it? What are the guidelines exactly? What are the guidelines to getting a ticket in that area? I know that there's some areas in Nigeria where it's a rotational thing, where one ethnic groups, they agree on, or different ethnic groups agree on rotating these over and over again. So you start to ask yourself the question, if this place is a rotational election, or if they practice rotational election here, is it going to be the turn of my own ethnic group? If not, how can I ensure that I'm still seen as the right candidate even with that? Is it a Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa kind of rotational election? How does that align or relate to me? If not 2027, in what ways can I start to practice running for the election that would require me to be at the forefront? So there's many things that can help you to become or to get the ticket just by getting politically literate. Many times people contest or people want to be part of elections but refuse to register and refuse to vote. So what can you do? You can register to get your PVC. I'm clamoring for that now. Get your PVC. Whether you want to run for election, whether you're a voter, the fact that you are Nigerian and the fact that you're a Nigerian youth, you have to get registered and also register to vote. Come out and vote and bring others. It's no longer a thing of me, myself, and I. You have to now start to practice to bring others. What else can you do? You can join a political party. So I've started with get politically literate, register and vote. Now join a political party. I've said it that there's already many existing political parties. So find one that aligns with your ideology and join a political party. Don't just join and sit at the back end. Join and start to lend your voice about issues that affect your constituency. And if you are, there's no how, you would be noticed just by lending your voice. So join a political party. Don't be a backbencher. Always try to lend your voice regardless. Start to form alliances beyond tribe and religion. Nigeria is so tied with tribe, it's so tied with religion, it's so tied culturally. But how do we start to form alliances beyond tribe and religion? That's the best way to do it. We see the presidential elections, we see governorship elections. It's not just a Yoruba thing. I remember very well that during the presidential campaign, we had the president bring in people from Indigo to the governors of the north, and we see this so alliance backing. Just right now, this morning, I saw a comment from Soludo saying that he has known the president for over 22 years, and he cannot deny him, so he was throwing his back against it. We also have a comment from our YouTube page. Is saying the reason why youths have not been able to make a headway despite their numbers and rage are simple. And I'm not sure I'm able to see all of that. I'm sure he was trying to outline them. So if we could get what he said here, but he's saying the reasons why youth have not been able to make a headway despite their numbers and rage and simple. So I would like to know what his comments are there. So how do we start to, beyond forming alliances, beyond tribe and religion, how do we start to look beyond that? Emilokan, Lagos for Lagos, a Muslim and Christian, Muslim ticket, Christian ticket, traditionalist ticket. How do we start to form alliances beyond all of that? And yes, he's saying rage does not win votes or articulate policies. It only leaves you open to manipulation by those who need mobs. And two, he's saying lack of political experience because it's a vocation if you're not ready to learn. So he's saying that, yes, lack of political experience because it's a vocation. If you are not ready to learn, do not. You will fail. That is such a strong statement. If you are not ready to learn, you will fail. And that is very true. If you are not ready to learn, you will fail. And that's why I said that the first thing that anyone should do is to be politically aware, politically involved, politically literate about what they want to do. And the last thing is, how do we start to hold leaders accountable? How do we start to hold our leaders accountable? How do we start to call out people who are not doing what is necessary for the betterment of Nigeria? Because we are going to be the leaders eventually. So how do we start to hold leaders accountable? It's a form of training. For me, when I start to hold my leaders accountable, start to ask the hard questions, it's giving me this sense of responsibility myself, that if I were to be in that same position, what are the kind of questions or what are the kind of things that I should be doing? What are the kind of policies I should be advocating for? How would the people that I so dearly want to serve perceive me? What are the things that I should start to do for my people before I get into seat, after I get into seat, even after I leave that seat? So how do we start to hold our leaders accountable beyond, just sitting around and just putting on the blame game? So we must, as youth, stop putting on the blame game and start to wear the cloth of responsibility. And the truth beyond it all is that politics will happen with or without us. But the results of not being part of that political system, not being part of that election, not being part of that party, whatever party that you have joined, not being part of the movement that is changing Nigeria, the results will always happen to us, no matter what we think that is or is not. And, well, okay, we have another WhatsApp comment here. And this person is saying that, okay, Funke is saying that politics have, okay, so sometimes I don't understand or I can't put together some of the comments. So Funke is saying that politics have been one of the toughest job for any youth. If it's a vocation, I think that's responding to what Olorogun Taiwo Jalukmo said. He said politics have been one of the toughest things for our youths. So if we are going to join the political system, how are youths going to take over that system? I'm guessing, let me try to answer that as much as I can. Politics is tough for everyone, whether you're male, whether you're female, just by the virtue of being a young person or going into politics, it is tough. I remember that I contested for the financial secretary in 200 level when I was in school, in young person, or going into politics, it is tough. I contested for the general secretary, and it's a tough one. The process of consistency, the process of being there where it matters, the process of showing up regardless is a tough one. So let's just apply that same system to politics. Whatever it is that you want to do in politics, always remember at the back of your head that you have taken on this mantle to do something, and even when it doesn't go as planned, you are still going to stick by to ensure that Nigeria doesn't just work for only you, but works for, generations to come. So these conversation today is something that many people did not have yesterday. I saw a lot of posts about celebrating the youths, celebrating our resilience, celebrating our innovation, celebrating this, celebrating that. But how and when are we going to start to celebrate our youth in politics? How are we going to start having the first this, the first of many this, the first of many that, the youngest this, the youngest that? When are we going to start having the youngest councillor, the youngest president, the youngest governor, where it doesn't look like a cliche statement and is actually the reality that Nigerians are starting to face? I read the news of many other political systems around all over the world, and I start to see certain changes. While I can agree that there are youthful progress, it still falls that is it enough? And I will say that it is not enough. So this is me clamoring for our youths to continue to involve themselves in politics, to continue to be part of the political system, to continue to demand for the betterment of their constituency. It's not a time to be selfish. You cannot be selfish that it doesn't concern me. And no matter how you jackpot, no matter how you jackpot, you're still coming back to the Nigeria that you left. You will continue to be the Nigerian. No matter where you go to, that passport will continue to make you a Nigerian. So let's start to think beyond, it doesn't concern me. Let's start to look at, it concerns us all. It concerns us and as youths. So the International Youth Day is more than a global hashtag. It's a mirror. showing us the truth about our power and our responsibility. In caps lock, our responsibility. We are many, but we are very scattered. We're scattered all over the world. We can't put ourselves together. We clamor, we protest, but it never translates into electoral takeover. We are very loud, but sometimes we are directionless. The NSAT protest spoke loud volume of how much we as Nigerians have the power to change what requires us to change, but we have issues with holding our grounds to the end, holding our ground from protest to the election ground. So let's start to change that narrative. And in 2027, no one, I repeat, no one will hand the youth the keys to Nigeria. If we do not take them, no one will hand it over to them. But if we will have to take them, we have to take them not with violence, but with a vision, with unity, and a strategy that outlasts outrage. We cannot keep being angry about what we think should work or shouldn't work. The future is not a gift, it's a prize, and we have to win that prize. We have to take it. And not only those who show up will claim it, only those who have done the work will show up, claim it, and will win. So the question I'm asking right now is, will we take that mantle towards 2027 and beyond? What are we going to do differently as Nigerians, even as Nigerian youths particularly, to take over the political system from now till when we can now hand over to the next generation of youth? I don't want a situation where we're going to have a youthful population where the next generation of youth will start to clamor for our non-existence in that sense. But how do we start to change the narrative that anyone should be in power till death do them part? How do we start to imbibe a culture of transformational, translational, leadership beyond that? Well, this is where I would leave our question to the audience. What are you going to be doing differently in 2027? Well, I am the polyhumanitarian, and this has been Politics Uncensored. I will ask that you keep the conversation going, because our politics should never be muted. Before I go, do ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, as all of our conversations are all about you. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can also interact with us further. Drop a comment. Thank you to our audiences and our guests who have dropped their comments and also been a part of this discussion. And most importantly, you can follow us on all our social media engagements. And remember, politics is all about you. So I'll see you again on Friday with another topic. See you and bye-bye.